Welcome to the channel. My name is Coach and I'm your go-to source for everything relating to NXT and TNA. So let's get the big news about No Mercy out of the way, Giulia debuting and facing off with Roxanne Perez. And I just want to give credit to NXT and the WWE in general of their presentation about Giulia. It was a perfect 10 out of 10. She looked like a megastar. She looked like she is a big deal. It feels like when Jade Cargill debuted, like how they laid out the red carpet for her. This feels very similar because she arrived and it just felt like this massive deal. And while we're at that, I think this is a much bigger debut than it looks like on the surface, because NXT has been steadily growing in the ratings over the past year, and although they've been stagnant for the most part this year, they've still done very good and the ratings have still grown. But this debut is the first domino to fall in a long line, because next we're gonna get Stephanie Vaquer, the Lucha Bros, Motor City Machine Guns, and then even some returns like Cora Jade, Nikita Lyons, Gigi Dolan, and all of that combining with the CW deal literally being in like a month. This is all coming together to make a big time NXT. And this is gonna have some big consequences because now more than ever, I think NXT is gonna give AEW a genuine run for their money. Like, I know some AEW fans might not want to hear this, but NXT has really been kicking their ass the last few months, and right now I think more than ever they're at risk of losing this battle for the first time in a very long time. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to review No Mercy. So if you want to hear more about my opinion on Giulia, wait till later in the video when I cover that women's match and what happened after. But right now, let's get into the first match of the night, which was the NXT Tag Team Championships. Axiom and Nathan Frazier recapturing their Tag Team Championships from Chase University, Andre Chase and Ridge Holland. This match was fine. It was a very fun match. Axiom and Nathan Frazier retaining was a very good decision in my opinion. I'm just not happy with what happened after the match, because Ridge Holland turned on Chase University, and I hate this. Ridge Holland has never been as over as he was with this whole story with Chase University, and you're taking that away from him. Hell, he even won his first championship in the WWE with this whole story. I don't know if Ridge Holland is ready to go out on his own yet. Now don't get me wrong, back in Florida at the NXT facility, he's gonna be a massive villain, but I don't think this is the right decision. I think you should have let it fester a bit more, because this turn felt out of nowhere. Like, all of these weeks up to this, it felt like he kept trying to gain their trust, and now finally the moment he has their trust, he turns on them with no build. I don't know what the idea is, but I don't agree with it. But I'm gonna give it some time, I'm gonna see where it goes, because in general it was a very good moment. We followed that up with Wesley vs Zachary Wentz, the new X Division champion Zachary Wentz, and that match was my match for the night. It was amazing. I love these two guys. If you know anything about me, Zachary Wentz has truly made a fan out of me recently, and I was glad to see him get the victory. There was this funny spot where the table just fell apart when Zachary Wentz laid on it, but that didn't take away from the match too much. Eventually Wesley tried to grab a chair, but Trey Miguel grabbed the chair away from him, and this allowed Zachary Wentz to get the victory. And Zachary Wentz looks really good with that X Division championship. I really like him holding it. But I don't think the Rascals are going to be a unit for longer. At least not Zachary Wentz and Trey Miguel. You should tune into my TNA video later this week on why I think so. But for now, I'm just letting you know, I do think each member of the Rascals will soon be going in their own ways and feuding with each other. Kalani Jordan then retains the NXT Women's North American Championship against Wendy Chu. It was a fine match. I wasn't very invested in the story coming into it. I didn't really care about the result either, as long as Kalani retained. I'm a big fan of Kalani. Didn't want her to lose, but I definitely feel like this was just a nothing match. You could have taken it away from the card, but it was fine. Kalani wins, as I said, and after the match, Tatum Paxley attacks Wendy Chu and leaves a doll that looks exactly like Wendy Chu in the ring. These two are gonna feud. I'm very excited for this feud, because I like the characters and the story they've been building with each other over the last few weeks. And I'm excited for it, but again, I don't know what's next for Kalani, because it feels like I don't want her to lose the belt, but this isn't quite working. She needs a story where she can really show her character a bit more. So maybe taking that women's championship off of her and putting her in a more personal story could really benefit her. And after this, we had the men's version of the title, the North American Championship, Obafemi defeating Tony D'Angelo. Another great decision. Obafemi should not lose that championship yet, but it's starting to feel like there's no real threats to him. Like, who on the NXT roster do we think can beat Obafemi? Maybe a Trick Williams, but that's about it. Javon Evans too, maybe a feud with Javon Evans, but besides those two men, I don't think anybody on the NXT roster is credible enough to really give Obafemi a run for his money, and that definitely needs to change soon because his reign is gonna start getting stale if there is nobody that threatens him. Next, we had Roxanne Perez defending her women's championship against Jada Parker and retaining. Obviously, she retained because afterwards she had a confrontation with Giulia, but Jada Parker took the spotlight and ran with it. Like I always say, I'm a big fan of Jada Parker. I do believe she's the next big thing in WWE, and this just proved it to me. She's so good in the ring. She has that star power and she looks so good. She's also a lot taller than Roxanne Perez. That's something I noticed tonight. Like, Roxanne Perez is really tiny. Jada Parker was a lot bigger than her. After the match, Giulia was a lot bigger than her. And I don't know if anyone's seen that picture of Ava and HBK greeting Giulia and introducing her, that handshake thing. Ava is super tall. Like, she's seriously tall. And when you compare all these things, Roxanne Perez is incredibly tiny. I don't know how she's gonna get over that hump on the main roster. It might hurt her a lot. But in NXT right now, it fits with her character. Her being tiny and this evil heel. It works really well for her here. I'm just concerned about the future. But after the match, Giulia debuts like a superstar, confronts Roxanne Perez. I have never really watched much of Giulia. When it was announced that she was signed, I watched some stuff of her because I wanted to get myself more invested in her. But right now, it was all you need. If you haven't seen anything of her before, you think, wow, this girl is a superstar. She's gonna like change the game. And I really do think she is going to. Because you heard in the intro, I think she's gonna be the catalyst for a massive change in NXT, and I'm excited to see what happens because, like I said, NXT's been kind of stagnant for me recently. It has some good stuff, but it's been very stagnant, and we were all waiting for that one big debut to change everything, and it finally happened because now NXT is going to be must-see again. With everything that happened tonight too, a lot is happening in NXT right now where you just have to watch. You have to see what's going to happen now. And I think we're going to a new era of NXT again where it's going to be a must-see show again. And then finally the main event, Ethan Page faces Joe Henry for the NXT Championship. Trick Williams is the special guest referee. And I think this match should not have main evented. Ethan Page obviously retained. Trick Williams was not very happy. And after the match, Pete Dunne pulled Trick Williams out of the ring, threw him around. And then that's how the show ended. It was a fine match. It was good, don't get me wrong. Everything involved was very good. I just don't think it should have been the main event. I think the way the show should have ended was with Giulia confronting Roxanne Perez. That would have been a much better ending than what this was. Not saying it was bad, it's just, it was an underwhelming ending for what the show was. Because it was an amazing show. It was a 10 out of 10 show for me. But the ending, it just didn't feel right. It didn't feel like the big ending that's like, now we're moving to this new direction, which we are with NXT. Now, as I do in the end of all of my videos, I give the show a ranking, and tonight's show was a 10 out of 10. It was just a perfect show. So many things happened, so many big moments. Your eyes were glued to the screen all the time. There was never a moment where I felt like, damn, I'm not invested in this show. Overall, it was a perfect show to me. 10 out of 10, couldn't get any better than this. And thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I genuinely can't wait for NXT this week to see what's happening with Giulia, see if we get any more debuts, any more returns, especially since the CW show is literally in a month. We're moving to a new network in a month where everything is going to change, so the next few weeks are going to be crucial to what happens to NXT, so I'm definitely excited. And if you want to see what happens on this show, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, put on notifications, because I cover NXT every week, I cover TNA every week, including some additional content during the weeks too. So thank you for watching, I hope you enjoy, and I hope to see you again soon. Goodbye.